What beginning? The beginning of what? In the beginning of the beginning.
In the beginning, let us.
In the beginning, you're like...
What he did at the beginning.
The beginning of Genesis, right after the fall happened.
At the beginning, I think it's about Genesis.
How about beginning at the beginning?
Is that in the beginning in Genesis, which
at the beginning of your Bible in Genesis 1.
Begin at the beginning.
God says the beginning of Genesis.
There's a creation story right at the beginning of Genesis.
At the very beginning of the Bible.
Genesis chapter.
Genesis, the first chapter.
In the beginning of Genesis 1:1. That's the beginning.
Oh my God, what did you just say?
In the beginning, according to the book of Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. But today, we won't just explore how the world was formed. We will dive into the story of the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, and the choices that shaped humanity forever. What does this ancient tale teach us about who we are and where we come from? Stay with us to uncover the deeper meanings behind this powerful story. God formed the first man, Adam, from the dust of the earth, and with a divine breath, he gave Adam life, making him a living being. Imagine this moment, the creator of the universe breathing life into his creation. But God saw that Adam was alone, and it was not good. So while Adam slept, God took one of his ribs and fashioned the first woman, Eve. Together, they became the first humans to inhabit the earth. Some see this act as more than a physical creation. The divine breath symbolizes the spark of life and purpose within all of us, a reminder that humanity carries something extraordinary within. And Eve's creation? It's not merely about companionship, but unity. Humanity is deeply interconnected, symbolized by the bond between Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were placed in a paradise, the Garden of Eden, a perfect world with rivers, trees, and an abundance of life. But among these, two trees stood out, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God gave them one command: you may eat from any tree except the tree of knowledge. But why this restriction? What made this tree so unique? Some interpret the tree of knowledge as a representation of free will, the ability to choose, and the responsibility that comes with that freedom. This was not just about eating fruit. It was about making decisions that define us as human beings. And the serpent? It's more than just an animal. It symbolizes temptation, the alluring voice that leads us astray from what we know is right. When Eve ate the fruit and shared it with Adam, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, and they became aware of their nakedness, experiencing shame and fear for the first time. God confronted them, and as a result, they were cast out of the Garden of Eden. No longer would they live in a paradise. They now faced toil, pain, and separation from God's perfect creation. The fall is not just about disobedience. It symbolizes the loss of innocence. It marks the beginning of humanity's struggle to reclaim the harmony we once had. The expulsion from Eden reminds us of the consequences of our choices, but also of the hope that redemption is possible.
After being expelled from Eden, Adam and Eve began a new life. They had children, and with them, a new opportunity for learning, work, and growth. But as they watched their children grow, Adam and Eve couldn't help but think about the decisions they had made. Would their children be wiser than they were? Would they learn from their mistakes? One thing was certain: their legacy was beginning. In the end, Adam and Eve looked toward the horizon, knowing that the future of humanity was in their hands. The world would no longer be perfect, but with their children and descendants, they would build a new beginning.
The story of Adam and Eve is not just about the past. It's about the present. It speaks to our deepest desires, our flaws, and our potential for growth.
If you enjoyed this story and want to continue exploring the most fascinating tales from the Bible, subscribe and join us on this journey. Which story would you like us to tell next? Leave us a comment. See you next time.